How's secrecy enforced? Why is secret? Why is everybody holding on to their stories so hard, so intensely? People that are within the organization, like it's hard to leak information.
Oh, well, they wouldn't want to leak. They're true believers. They see like there's sort of a conspiracy theory that runs right through all of Scientology, which is that Scientology represents like an existential threat to the powers that really control this planet.
Do they have a face to the powers that really control? Do they have names to it? Like who's controlling?
It's Xenu's homies.
Well, I'm sure that's not what they say. Zeno embodied in...
It's actually sort of a multifaceted conspiracy in that on the one hand, L. Ron Hubbard points his fingers at like the international bankers.
Okay.
Which has shades of anti-Semitism to it.
And then the IRS is going to be quickly baked in, or no?
The IRS now, the IRS is so low on the totem pole. As far as the international bankers, he would say runs everything.
Got it.
But use that these bankers also use big pharma and big psych to control the population. And Scientology is famously against pharma and psych. And so this is sort of how L. Ron Hubbard characterizes like this big war between Scientology that's trying to set everyone free and big pharma and big psych that's trying to enslave everyone on the planet.
Yeah. Controlling their mind, controlling their body through chemicals. And
who controls the press? Big pharma and big psych.
So there's a lot of correlation to other kinds of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
But you asked the question, why would all these people hold on to their stories? They would never want to leak. Like by even anyone who would want to leak would not even want to be a Scientologist anymore. Like if you truly believe in Scientology and you got your shoulder to the wheel and you're a Sea Org member, you think Scientology is literally the only thing that can save every being on this planet from a fate of eternal amnesia and slavery.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, you've seen The Matrix, right? So you've got everyone, once you're unplugged from the Matrix and you realize, you could get plugged back in and live your nice life, but you're a slave. That's how Scientologists see this planet. They refer to Earth as a prison planet.
Just on an individual level, how is it possible to reach a person like that? Is there something you could say to that? Like, what's the journey of reaching a person like that?
I personally, because when I was in those shoes, I say there's nothing anybody could have said to me to get me to change how I felt and thought about Scientology. It's almost foolproof that the more evidence you try to present that there's something wrong with what Scientology is doing, the more you're just working for the psychs. It's very, very difficult. Most people who leave Scientology leave because they have had some personal experience that was just such a grave injustice that it just pushed them beyond the point of what they were willing to experience. Very rare. I'm not sure I've really ever heard a story of someone going, I just woke up, I just gradually realized it was all BS and drifted away. It's usually like, no, I really believed and they treated me so horribly. I almost had no choice but to leave. And then the stories get pretty crazy.
Meaning you don't care what's true anymore. You just have to leave with this, the unpleasant feeling, the suffering here.
Yeah. And this sort of goes back to the conversation we're having about like, well, does Miscavige really believe? And I said I could make an argument for the fact that he doesn't, right? Because I go, it wouldn't be that hard to change the way Scientology treats people just a little bit, and you'd probably stop losing anyone, because Scientologists already believe to such a strong degree, you have to be pretty freaking horrible to people to make them leave. And that's where you go, well, does Miscavige even want Scientology to expand? Because if he was really being clever about it, it seems like he could at least stop the bleeding, and yet he doesn't. So that's where you make the argument, well, if he doesn't, then he must not want to.
So his mind is corrupted to the point where he's not able to actually be a good businessman, essentially.
It seems that way. The numbers of Scientologists have been going down and down and down since the early 90s.
Is there a good, it's very difficult to get to this number, but is there a good estimate of what the current number of Scientologists or practicing Scientologists is?
Oh, yeah. I did a video about this. It's actually quite easy to get to the number. It's not more than 35,000 in the entire world. And that's being very generous and charitable. I was intentionally generous. I broke it all down in a spreadsheet and everything.
What can you give like some insights of how you get that info?
Sure. There's about 175 to 200 Scientology organizations in the world. Anybody who's ever worked at these organizations know there's not more than 35 to 50 staff members per org. There's not more than 1 to 200 public Scientologists per org. I broke down the number of Sea Org members who'd be working at every continental management unit, middle management, international management. I broke down the mission network, and I was generous. I mean, my numbers were like, if L. Ron Hubbard came back and they were doing an event, L. Ron Hubbard was coming back and announcing OT 9 and 10, how many Scientologists could we scrape together in every city to come to this event? It wasn't more than 35,000. Now, contrast that to what Scientology says. Millions, 10 million people.
Is this less people than there used to be?
Yeah. At its peak, it was about 100,000 active members.
But never the millions.
Never. No.